Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pro Wrestling World Talks with Dan and Mac.
Saturday nights, the Royal Rumble. And also, no one was talking about it after they got home because they turned on Sports Center or they were getting alerts on their phone. And the dumbest trade in sports history is no longer the Boston Red Sox trading away Mookie Betts to the Los Angeles Dodgers. It's now Luka Doncic being traded to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis and a first round pick in 2029 that now means nothing because the Lakers have Luka Doncic.
I mean, what the fuck is that?
Great idea.
Like,
Dallas.
what is that?
Great idea. I am your host, Daniel Burke, here on Pro Wrestling World Talks. And I am, of course, joined by my best friend and co-host of this great program.
Oh, shit.
We actually watched the Rumble together.
We did.
And I remember going...
Boo Ran.
With Boo Ran, yes. I have to go on a rant here to start this program. So... Blazing Buffalo Ranch Doritos are not common in the area that I live in. Okay? So I go to a grocery store in the eastern part of the state and I find a bag of this wonderful Doritos. And immediately I'm just, because we had to buy soda for this thing. So I just am like, chucked it in the bag, chucked it in the basket. And I'm thinking to myself, it's just like, great, it's going to be for the Rumble. So, because I am a good person when it comes to, and so is Mac, as far as being able to sharing is caring with our certain habits.
Yeah.
Everybody at this party, and there was 4 others, and not only just Billy, Booran, but also the great Jay Bassett was also there, and me and him, which I loved it when Billy called me earlier that day when he was just like, "Do you and Bassett have heat?" And I was just like, "No, like why would I have heat with Bassett?" Considering the fact also that Bassett was a heavy AEW fan a few years back. And me and him both looked at each other and he was able to look at me and says, "Yeah, it's terrible now." It's like, oh, common ground, finally. It's like...
Kind of like, okay, come sit and talk now.
Yes. You know? Well, come on, you can come over to the table.
Hang
Let's
out with
talk.
the boys now.
Yeah, exactly. And, he had an edible or two. I guess one edible. Probably doesn't want to get outed, but oh well.
Smoke.
But... So I'm thinking to myself that everybody is in a good mood, and I'm in a good mood. I'm relaxed. I'm going to have these Doritos. Sure fuck enough. Billy commandeered them and shared them with his other 2 friends on the couch.
Because I'm not booked.
Before I even could have one. I didn't even have one fucking goddamn Blazing Buffalo Ranch fucking Dorito. Not
because
fucking one. Not fucking one. Oh, God.
Because I'm not booked.
It's awful. So, it's just, you're in the right mood. You're at a party. Yeah, Dave, I had fucking 0 Doritos. Fucking 0. God, I think I'll be more raging later on when we talk about the men's Royal Rumble because... Christ almighty, you fucking imbecile wrestling fans. You're the problem that this thing continues to be where it is. And it's just like how they have to keep, we got to bring him back. Got to hit all the yeah, I'm going to get to that later on. But I needed to say something about my goddamn Dorito fiasco. Oh, God, I could not believe that. Could not believe it. That was
because I'm not booked.
That was the biggest injustice of the night, other than the Lakers getting Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis and a first round pick.
There were a few injustices for the evening.
No, that was the big one.
Those
that
are the big ones. Yeah,
that was the big one. This is by far, and because we talk about the Mookie Betts trade all the time, and now it's like, well, the Red Sox are off the hook because this was dumb with a capital D-U-M-B. All of them dumb. I woke up, I went to bed that night thinking I'm too high. That's how this happened. I have taken too much, and now I am thinking that there is no possible way that this happened. And I woke up the next day, sure fucking enough, it was there, confirmed, it happened. Not only that, it was such a shocking thing that the person who reported it needed to come out and be like, I swear to you, this is not fake. Because there were enough people that were thinking, this did not happen. There was no way that this happened. And it did. And you're just like, what? What? Really? How?
Can I tell you what the other injustice of the evening was?
What?
You needing to go to Cumberland Farms to grab a drink, and you pick the one that has about 20 cops at it.
Hey, look. It was on the way there. There was no other place on the way home. That was the problem.
I would have overshot on Route 9 to the other end. I would have just taken a left on Route 20 and gone to that one.
Oh, we need a fucking 7-Eleven in this area. God damn it.
We need a better one here. The one I have here sucks.
That's true. The ones in New York are tremendous.
Oh, absolutely.
But the ones here are just yeah, they need something. Don't get me wrong. I love me some Cumberland Farms, but not when there's 15 fucking cops in there and you're just like, what? Why?
Why?
Luckily, it wasn't when we were coming back from shows, or that was in our drinking days. Luckily, it wasn't that. Luckily, it was we may or may not have consumed drugs that night. So don't stop it. So here's my suggestion. Don't stop at a Cumberland Farms on a Saturday night, in Auburn, I guess, on the Route 20, Route 12 junction.
I mean, I feel like we had it coming anyways, because I could see the cops pulling people over and hidden and all that other stuff. So
yes.
So we go down, I think it's 2 blocks, if that. We pull into the Cumberland Farms, and there's cop car here, cop car there, cop car here, and I'm like, oh man, why of all the places that we had to go to, why is it?
Why? Why is it here? Why do we have to sit there and have to deal with this situation where, of course, we're thinking to ourselves, it'll be fine. We won't have to deal with this. But of course, you're thinking your tension's up and you're just you're anxious. You're just But luckily it's not it became an issue. No, it's just something that we could tell a funny story to people and be like, I remember that time. Yeah, right. I remember that. Fuck. Son of a bitch.
I remember that. Thank you, Biff Tannen. I remember that.
Thanks, Biff. Oh, good Lord. But yes, after the Luka Doncic waking up the next day and then finding out, oh, that thing was for real. And then of course, waking up, Steph just looks at me as just I'm hungry. I want breakfast. And of course, it's just why don't we go as a family? No, I'm sending you two to do it. It's they just love that. Yeah, don't you just love that? You're just why don't we just go as a family? And then it turns into, you two can go. It's but then I got to bring you back something,
You know why I shouldn't want to go?
Why?
Because I'm not booked.
Because she wasn't booked, apparently. No. You want to know what it was, too? I found out because I'm I guess what you ordered last night for food didn't like it. She's like, no, I didn't. I'm
you didn't like your food? No, I didn't.
Which made sense of oh, you woke up hungry. Okay, that makes sense. Because she's not really someone that like eats breakfast or like eats in the morning first thing. But I guess dinner the night before was not good. Which, to be honest, too, Billy, if you're listening to this, she did think the pizza was as close to New York as possible, because we did end up taking some pizza back from the party, and Steph was thoroughly impressed with the pizza that got brought back.
It was good.
It was damn good, especially that buffalo chicken one. I just wasn't bringing that back, which I think was devoured. Like, it was like a complete, like,
it's, you know why it was devoured? Because we didn't get wings, right?
yes,
Because,
I didn't get wings or nachos.
So I'm sorry, I'm sorry, but he got a little too blitzed before he ordered food. And I'm just gonna say the name of what he got blitzed on, or I shouldn't say the name, but maybe the brand, I don't know, was called the Goat.
Yep.
So he got a little bit too blitzed on the Goat. Irony being what it is, yes, I realize that. And he got way too blitzed to make a food order at that point.
Oh,
and
it was
he's complaining
terrible.
about the money, even though everybody pitched in money for the food. It's gonna be too much. Yeah. Again, sorry. And he didn't want to get the wings anymore, so I was like, okay, whatever. Like, not the end of the world, not happy about it, but I'll suck it up. So then he's like, well, how about we just do cheese and pepperoni? I'm like, all right, fine. So then he looks at the wings again, still thinking too much. He's like, well, how about we do a specialty pizza? And I was like, all right, so how about this? Because I was not that blitzed yet at this point. And I said, how about this? How about we do buffalo chicken pizza? And he's like, oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, okay. Then the food comes. He has one bite of it. He goes, whose idea was this again? And I'm like, what? He's like, buffalo chicken pizza. I was like, I'm pretty sure that was me, bud. Great idea. Yeah, it's really good. Oh. Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yes, because our brains were functional, because it seems like everybody there was overserved, and me and you were just like, what the fuck? This is nothing.
Yeah,
like,
it was funny because we got through the entire Women's Rumble, reserved
I was
ourselves.
sober. Yeah.
Reserved ourselves, and then we was like, okay, I feel good now.
Then I was fine after the Rumble, which, after the Rumble, also the outcome, I was just like, I need to get blitzed, because it was exactly how I called it.
But
and
the other reason we had to is because of who came out at number 30, which we'll get
my God,
we'll get to in a sec. But yeah.
Oh, and I read a story today too that somebody might be following her footsteps. So
the sister,
prepared for that shit.
Is it the sister?
Yeah, pre-mode. Fuck off. Like,
well, I guess we might as well just jump right into it then at this point.
Might as well, right? Like,
Yep. So obviously, we called the entire card in terms of the placement of the matches. Which I thought was kind of funny. Not like I felt like we would get it wrong, but
still a chance. But the way that
I didn't think there was.
No, I didn't think. No. It was pretty goddamn obvious that they would rather have the Rumble matches be the bread and the fucking the middle. Even though it was really thin in the middle of this year.
Meat and then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting. They started with EO and then Liv Morgan at number 2. I thought that was kind of interesting because they just had a match a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago at this point, actually, for the Women's World Championship.
Yes, on the first edition of Saturday Night's Main Event, the Rebirth.
Yep.
They had good chemistry. It was a good match. So I think
didn't they just have a match for the Elimination Chamber too?
Possibly.
I'm pretty sure they did on Monday night. Because freaking Rhea got involved and then Castillo the match.
Oh, that's true. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
So
not only did they just have a championship match about a month and a half ago or so, they started this match. And then 2 nights later on Raw, they have another match.
Yeah, that's kind of odd. in the kind of the way that was placed, and also the fact that these two started. Again, I don't think about those type of things. Like I know that somebody out there is probably like looking at that and saying, well, and it makes sense. I just
I know who's looking at it. It's Cornette. Lazy booking.
Well, this match at certain points, I was just like,
yeah, it's funny. I sped through it to grab the captures, right?
Yeah,
Not only what's on the screen now, but some memorable moments, which we'll get to in a little bit when we get across them within the matches. But I'm looking at them like the women's match was good, but it didn't really serve memorable moments.
No, it didn't. It was just kind of
there.
It did take it did take a nosedive at a certain point too.
Yeah.
Because you're like, because again, you think you're lining up tea leaves, which when you get to this time of year, when you're as a wrestling fan, you're always overthinking shit. And especially when it comes to the Rumble, you're just like, oh, this person's going to come out, this person's going to come back. Like they've been seen at this performance. There's all these fucking rumors and all these thoughts. And yeah, it's the same thing kind of happened this year where everybody overthought, including myself, including Mac, and it wasn't. The surprises were. I don't know. It's just
low. I felt like for both, to be honest, for both matches, the last few years we've really had like a surprise factor, I would say, and I felt like this year for both matches, to be 100% honest with you, the surprise factor was very low. Not to say it was zero. I would maybe argue for the men's side it was zero, save maybe one or two people.
Yes.
But even at that point, the one or two people were just returning stars. And then the other one was somebody we'll talk about later.
Yes.
Whereas for the women, I would say you had a very big return, a very big debut in the sense of just signing a contract. You already know who I'm talking about. We'll get to in a few minutes.
Yep.
And then 2 Hall of Famers. And it's funny because when we get to her, I remember the pop being pretty big, but I think there are a few big pops for the women's match, but it was mostly the entrances, like who came out.
Mostly, yes.
For the men, it was a little bit of the same, obviously. But as I'm rewatching this to pick up the captures and everything, I think the biggest pop of the night, in terms of heel heat, was actually Logan Paul.
Oh yeah,
I think he got the biggest heat of the night, and I think honestly, it wasn't just the fact that it was Logan Paul. I think it's the fact that he came out at 30.
Yeah, I mean, that added to it. That definitely added to it.
I think it was both.
Yeah. It's the women's match. There really wasn't many. They got a lot of heat. I mean, except for Nia, but that's because Nia makes it easy.
Yeah.
Even Liv Morgan's not getting the type of heel heat that she was like 6 months ago. Now it's
she's fighting with Dom.
Right, exactly. It's like we hate him. Oh, you're fighting with him now? Oh, okay, great. This guy can't just. Are they going to put him with another girl after this? Is the question.
Who knows, man?
Who knows with that story?
I do want to touch on it just real quick because again, I do have the entrance pretty much lined up, but at number 3 for the women was actually somebody who was kind of the dark horse in the match, Roxanne Perez from NXT.
Yep.
If I'm reading this correctly, she broke the longest time spent in a women's rumble at 1 minute 7 seconds. I'm sorry, 1 hour 7 minutes 47 seconds. She was in the final 2 with Charlotte Flair. So I mean
breakout performance.
Yeah.
Like really, in the end for her, it's going to be, because there's not much for her left to do in NXT. So that run on that brand is coming to an end. So the question is how, this is going to be kind of her jumping off point. And now she's going to be able to be, all right, sink or swim. But it's a memorable performance. I think in the end, she's going to be, this is going to be something she's going to be able to brag about and kind of, even though now, if you've watched NXT over the weekend, she's having problems now with Cora Jade. They're getting ready to do that split. And then Roxanne will be making her eventually main roster debut.
As soon as I saw that, I just went, stand in to deliver, and then she's up after WrestleMania.
Yep.
That was
exactly.
As soon as I saw them starting to tease the split, that was 100% where I was going with that.
Loser leaves the brand, and she loses.
I mean, even if she doesn't, even if they don't do loser leaves the brand, they do some kind of big match, stand and deliver.
Yep.
A week or a few weeks or whatever the case may be, and she's on the main roster after WrestleMania. Like, it just that's the way it's gonna go. But I just there are so many parts to this entire match, the women's match, that I'm looking at it and I'm just like, where are these big moments? So far I'm just kind of scrolling through, as we go. So we're up to number 9 right now, and your first bunch through 10, I'll get to number 10, is Io Sky, Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez. I already mentioned those 3. Those are the first 3. Lyra Valkyria, who's your women's Intercontinental Champion. Chelsea Green, who's your U.S. Women's Champion. B-Fab, not a wrestler. Ivy Niles, Zoe Stark, Lash Legend, and as I mentioned, at number 10 is Bianca Belair. There's some talent in it so far, but it's like you're almost waiting for like a big moment until Bianca Belair comes out. And you're like, okay, cool, like it's gonna be something now. B-Fab's in it for 7 minutes. Ivy Nile and Zoe Stark are both in it for about 16, 17 almost. It's like you're waiting.
I was surprised. I was surprised with Lyra Valkyrie. She was not in it for very long.
About 16 minutes.
Yeah, but
that's not that long. I get it. Yeah, but
compared to like others, because we've been talking about it recently, about she's been kind of pushed down our throats a little bit, and we were concerned. Well, hopefully she doesn't win it. I mean, she'll probably have a prominent place in the Rumble. She really didn't do much of anything.
Yeah, it's like as I'm watching both matches, you almost get the sense that the timer is like way off. Like it's supposed to be every 2 minutes, I think it is.
Right.
Yeah, dude. There are times where I'm fast forwarding and I feel like for 5 minutes or so just to get to the next entrant. Like seriously, it's the case.
There's a thing that Bruce Pritchard calls Titan time.
Yeah,
and that's how because sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's longer, and that's how they call it Titan time.
Yep. They started to pick up, I would say, with the next 5. So the next 5 after 10 is Shayna Baszler. You can make an argument there because she is with, PFC, whatever. We already have a PFC member in Zoe Stark in there. Bailey was number 12, Sonya Deville at 13, Maxine Dupree at 14. That brings us to 15, where you have Naomi. So at this point, now you have all of PFC. You have the women's tag team champions. You already have Chelsea Green, and you already have Lyra Valkyria, your mid-card women's champions. So now you feel like, okay, it's going to pick up, right? Cool, great. And then 16 is Jada Parker.
Yeah, and then just
like, come on.
It's just like, oh God. Oh God. I this was at certain points of this match, it was like Garth from Wayne's World. Swing, 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 swing.
I think we
Like
said
it's
that
just
that night.
yeah,
Yeah.
we did.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I had to repeat it just because it was just an interesting night of just like, oh God, like this. And I feel like you feel dirty talking about this now because somebody's going to listen to this and be like, they're objectifying women. It's like, look, okay, it's hard not to.
No, I don't
It's
think we're
just,
objectifying. I just think they're gorgeous. So
yes, I do. I think it's not like I'm sitting here and sipping over any of them. I'm just saying there's a lot of attractive women in the WWE right now. And this Rumble proved it. I think I said multiple times for everybody that came out, I was just like future ex-wife, like just everybody.
Yeah, it was that there was that tapping. Remember?
Yes, the old tapping.
Yeah,
Yes,
we talked about that on the way back.
tap tap taparoo.
So here's where it gets a little bit more interesting after this. So after Jada Parker is Piper Niven, Natalia, and then at number 19, which I'm going to say 19 through 30, I feel was heavily backfilled, heavily loaded up in the back 10, 15 or so. But number 19 brings us to Jordynne Grace.
Yes, who they announced as a member of the WWE roster.
Yep, Michael Cole could not get that out fast enough. Oh my God.
No, he couldn't.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hey.
Hi, honey.
Hey.
Yes, he says Max is hi.
Hey.
Hi.
I'm going to bed.
Oh. Are you?
Yeah.
Are you tired?
Yeah. Where else would I be going to bed?
I don't know.
Leave this open so Daria.
Great.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Plan.
Great.
Good night, guys.
Good night. Love you. The weekly step cameo.
Yeah.
It's like if this was a drinking game, people would be just like, "Oh, Steph comes in, take a shot." Where were we? Yes, it does get interesting between Jordynne Grace, now a member of the WWE roster. Of course, yes, Michael Cole couldn't get that out faster enough. Cole had a good time this match. We'll figure out.
Cole had a great night. Period.
He did. He had a fantastic night. Like, Michael Cole has become one of the best ring announcers in wrestling, one of the best play-by-play guys in that company's history. In the last probably 3.5 years, he has just been on fire. Ever since Vince got shown the door left.
Shackles anymore, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have the shackles. Like, things now are just like, I'm good. It's fine. Yeah. So he's in a, but yeah, he really has fun later on in this contest. That wasn't even his best line of the night of him just, but yes, Jordynne Grace coming out. The Naomi spot was fun when she hugged him, when they hugged, and then Bianca Belair just grabs Jordynne Grace by the hair. The fuck is this? Yep. Like, that was a good moment. And then Naomi's just trying to explain, like, you know, like
thing and TNA. What do you want? Or Impact at the time.
Yes, exactly. But no,
the spot with the fisherman carryover with Piper Niven, I thought was fantastic. Which, considering what happened last year and some of the stuff that Jordynne was doing last year, just made it even better to me.
Yes, no. Apparently she's going to NXT. Yeah, that's the rumor, which I'm like, why? She's fucking main roster ready. Yep. Oh, you know, she might need seasoning. No, she doesn't need seasoning. Shut up.
She doesn't. She's already been down there with, you know, your women's champion at the time, who was Roxanne Perez. But, you know, whatever. But yeah, the next entrant was Mi Chen, and the next entrance after that probably got the pop of the night.
Oh, it is on the women's side. This was definitely the loudest pop of the night. And going into this, we talked about it last week and saying, I don't know if it's going to happen. It doesn't sound like it is. People got worked. That's all we need to say.
Everybody got worked.
We got worked.
Meltzer got worked.
Meltzer definitely got worked.
It might. I don't know. It might be zero.
Yeah, it was zero.
And Michael Cole made you remember. Michael Cole.
Internet said she's not going to be here. I loved that Barrett came right after, like, you can't read all the dirt sheets, Cole.
No, you can't. You can't. And of course, we were talking about Alexa Bliss making her return. Her first 3 years now? 2 years?
2 years. 2023.
2 years. 2023.
It is the same PLE that she last appeared at.
Yep.
2023 Royal Rumble. Now 2025 Royal Rumble is when she makes her return.
She became a mommy, so she had the time off to kind of be a mom. And now the schedule is more conducive now for people to have kids, concerning the fact of that they just have to work like 1 day a week. Apparently, she is going to be on SmackDown now, not Raw. And her new contract is for 5 years. And they already had merch for her because there was some talk and consideration that maybe it's a short-term deal. That's a 5-year deal. I'm happy. I think everybody else is happy depending on the reaction that she got. Again, probably because I came in here last week and I remember repeating it to several people because I was going by the reports saying that they were far apart on money. And I had said, this ain't 2018 anymore. And fact is that doesn't matter. 7 years later, she still get a really, really good pop. Still well loved by the fans, still well loved by the audience. I still think she's fantastic. I think everybody else does. And it's good to see her back. So I don't mind being wrong, even though I don't consider myself wrong because it's like, again, I don't have anybody on the inside. I go by with what people say and what is reported. And it wasn't just Meltzer who reported. It was also PWI Insider. Usually when it's PWI Insider, like Mike Johnson and I think Wade Keller, I try to, those are the guys, it's like, okay, like, if they're reporting it, then it's probably legit. Because 95% of the time, they're usually on point. Not this time, but I think they were more taking a shot at Meltzer than they were Mike Johnson and PW Insider. Because Mike is actually like, he's a really nice guy. I don't know him personally, but from what I understand, he is like one of the nicest human beings possible. And he's not just like a nerd about it. And he doesn't come off like Meltzer does and whatnot. And that's why I think he gets a lot of information to him because he's just such a nice guy. And that's why but also too, because he's accurate with stuff. And that's usually who I go by. I don't go by Dave all the time. Because Dave, especially lately, is wrong fucking 9 times out of 10. And that one time that he's right, it's usually a half right. Like it's like he's half right and then half it's bullshit. And then he comes out with the famous plans change fucking excuse. And on this one, you really can't, like, this is one of those ones you really can't defend because literally a day before he's coming out with saying that they were far apart on money. And a day later, she's fucking at the Rumble. And it's like, but you said they're far apart on money, Dave. Like, what the fuck? And they got it done. And
the thing for me, excuse me, that I kind of laughed at with they're far apart on money is just that. Like, they've thrown so much money around the last 2 years, especially, to sign a lot of effing talent. So, just real quick, I'm just going to go through Zelina Vega, Candice LeRae. Those are your next two. One of the people they threw money at is number 24, Stephanie Becerra.
yep.
And obviously, I can name other people like Julia, like Jacob Fatu. You can make the argument they throw a lot of money
Jordan
at
Grace.
Cody Rhodes. Jordan Grace is another one, absolutely.
Well, Cody probably, that first contract, the first contract probably with Cody, it was respectable. Like, he was probably making
You're
what he was
probably
making
right.
AEW.
When he resigned,
That second deal was
exactly.
probably fucking massive.
Yep.
CM
CM
do a
Punk's
lot
another
of
one.
Punk's Punk is probably making the same, if not more, than he was in AEW. And
Which is still a lot of fucking money.
that's his downside. And not only that, these guys have the ability now, because they don't have some asshole that is running the company that's like, you can't do outside projects. A lot of these guys have outside deals, and are able to, like, you know, Cody has his own. I think he's still got the cigar company, and I think he's got, which
He's doing that podcast still, too.
he's got the podcast. He's also got that vodka, or that vodka out he's
or
doing.
whatever it is, I think.
Yeah. I mean, so these guys have outside gigs, and nobody gives a shit. Like, and too, Jordan Grace is able to, she owns her own theme music, so they're letting her keep it. And it's, you know, they're a lot easier now. They're a lot, you know, the shackles are off, so to speak, for a lot of these talents to make a really good amount of money in their lives, and also not to be tied down and have to pay for everything. Like, these guys, when they got their Twitch taken away from them, oh my God. Like,
That
it's
was
just like, for
stupid
what?
back then.
That was so dumb. That
Because
didn't
they
make
couldn't
any sense to
control it.
me.
It's because they couldn't control it, and it's an additional income, and they're using their WWE names. So WWE felt that they should be taking a piece of the pie.
Well, what also kind of hurt them too, and this actually kind of started with Alexa Bliss, to be quite honest, was she got paid on Cameo like $300 and something to answer a fan who asked her out.
Yep.
And of course she said no, but that got out there, and that got picked up by, you know, the mainstream, not just the mainstream, like that picked up by like mainstream news. I was talking about it on other podcasts, I think, at the time, just because it was such a hot button issue of just like, and I think I said at the time on the podcast, I said, I guess Vince doesn't know about Cameo yet. Sure enough, like right after that, it was almost within 3 months. It was like, no more cameos unless you're doing it through the company. It's like, oh, you fucked that up.
Yep.
Like,
Exactly.
it's just, oh, you guys had it. You guys just under the radar. And all of a sudden, Vince caught wind. He's just like, what?
Ironically, speaking of Cameo, I just mentioned the next couple of contestants here on the Royal Rumble for the women's side, but the next contestant at number 25, we had the Hall of Famer, Trish Stratus.
Oh, wonderful. She's still got it.
Yep.
In every which way. I think when Bassett said it best, he's just like, thank you, Trish. It's like, I've been thanking her for 25 fucking years.
I was remembering it, but I think Pat McAfee also said thank you, Trish, a few times when she came out too.
I've been saying thank you, Trish, since the TNA days. Like that's
Which I thought it was really hilarious that Michael Cole mentioned that. By the way,
yeah, that's the truth. I mean, but the fact is that like, it, I'm gonna be honest. Thank you, Trish. I've been saying that since the TNA days. It's the God's honest truth. Oh, she is. Yeah, Canada's finest export next to the NHL and the Stanley Cup
okay,
and Bret Hart.
okay then.
What?
Nothing. I just think it's that's what you're saying, but okay.
She's Canadian.
That is true. She is.
Can't wait till we merge though with Canada. It's coming.
It's. Yeah, I don't think you've ever played any of the Fallout games, but in Fallout, Canada is actually the 51st state.
Well, I know that Civilization
bombs, I should
7 is. I know Civ 7 is coming out. So I know that there's probably some people that have already, or it's already out. I guess it's already out for some people. I guess they got the we'll talk more about games, I guess, at the end of this. But yeah, I guess thinking about that because you brought up Fallout, and I'm just like, oh, Civ 7 just came out. Yeah. So that'll, which kind of is the same basis of you being able to build up your own military and then nuking people into the Stone Age.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, so, yeah. But, yes, Trish. What else can I say about Trish? It has already been said. It's just, you gotta, yeah.
Yep. All right, so 26, Raquel Rodriguez. At 27, the person who took up their entire time.
Jesus Christ.
Charlotte Flair returns.
Cher. Oh, Charlotte Flair. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, her.
Cher came out the fucking, oh, God. I have never seen somebody come out to looking like a peacock at fucking the Royal Rumble. Just like with this giant red thing. It's just like, oh, God.
So again, we talked about this before. It's every 2 minutes somebody else comes out. Which,
yes.
Okay, fine. Charlotte Flair, again, when I mentioned it before, of feeling like I have to fast forward through a lot of these to get to the next entrant to get a screen capture. It's like Charlotte Flair's entrance was 2 minutes, and then she was out there for another 3 before the Julia came out at number 28. I'm sitting there like, what is going on right now? And I remember watching it at his house and just being like,
Boo ran.
Dude, she's getting the treatment already.
Oh, God. It was, yes, but it was just this it was borderline obnoxious, to be quite honest. Her just coming down that, and I
get it, it's a return, but still.
I want it to be known, I am not a Charlotte Flair hater by any means. But,
Well, we can talk about that.
Right. I'll talk about that in a few minutes. But
I wasn't even going to say that. I was going to say if we talk about, stuff that happened after the Rumble, then I think we could talk about that aspect because.
That's going to get brought up. That's going to get brought up because the next.
Let's get through.
We'll talk about that when that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So like I said, Julia was 28. Nia Jax was at 29. Nia Jax, the most eliminations in this match.
Dominant performance.
So I got a picture here of right after she knocked out 6 people at once, because all 6 people were just hanging out on the apron and being stupid. So I thought that was pretty funny. And then, unfortunately, at number 30, which caused Dan and I to go outside.
Oh my God!
Immediately after we found out Charlotte Flair was the winner, Nikki Bella.
Yeah. This was another one where, you're thinking it's Becky. You're just thinking, it's Becky. It's going to be, or Jade. There were other people that you're like, okay, this is 30. It's going to be somebody huge. It's going to be, we're talking big name here, Hall of Fame credentials, all this stuff. It was a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But
she's a Hall of Famer.
the Harold Baines, as far as I'm concerned, or like somebody that's just like, why the fuck are you here type thing, like, because that's I if there are two people in this industry that I don't know how they are considered like Hall of Famers because of the fact that they really contributed dick to this industry. Um, Even though that's really, I guess, the only thing that they were able to contribute was never mind. But the fact
Wow.
the fact that this industry even looks at them as like legends just shows you how up until 2015, 2016, that the bar for women was so low. It was so low that these two are propped up as Hall of Famers. And I just, I heard that music and her come out, and I just was like, because
So again, talking about the reactions for a second. But again, I think Trish got a decent reaction, but at 25, and then you go back to 21, and Alexa Bliss, who been gone for 2 years, got a massive reaction.
yes,
Way more than Trish, way more than Nikki Bella, way more than Charlotte, I'd argue too.
yeah, well, yeah,
On par. I think Jordan Grace and Alexa Bliss probably got the best reactions, honestly.
yes,
For people that were returning, because you can make the argument Jordan Grace is returning. It's her second Rumble. She just signed. And then you have Charlotte Flair, who got a good reaction, but also is a 2-minute entrance, so she's gonna have to get a good reaction. It's tough, but I think Nikki Bella was almost like Trish, where it was like, okay, we're gonna give you a good reaction, but it's almost this reaction of we're being nice, but because mostly we're just indifferent to you. That's how I felt Trish kind of got. She got a good reaction, don't get me wrong.
she did, yeah.
But it was very short. It was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And I think Nikki Bella got a very similar reaction. Nikki Bella, by the way, is only in the match for 3 minutes and 4 seconds. Still longer than Maxine Dupree, but not by much.
Yeah, Maxine at least got an elimination. What the fuck did Nikki do?
Maxine got, yeah, she spun. I don't know why I was reading that differently, the way it's set up. But yeah, she got Ivy Nile out, and then PFC got her out. Trish got out Candice LeRae. That's it.
Candice LeRae buried again.
Yep, exactly. Candice LeRae is out there 16 minutes though. That's pretty good for her, honestly.
Just on par with Lia Mercuria, so it's like
Yeah.
she's in the same spot. So
yeah, exactly. Even Nia is only in the match less than 10 minutes, but she got all those
she had a
eliminations.
massive
Exactly.
impact.
Yeah, she definitely did. And of course, she comes out at 29, so it doesn't really matter how long she's in the match, I guess.
Right.
But I think we all know where this is going. Your 2025 Women's Royal Rumble winner, as we called it last week, is Charlotte Flair.
I remember it happened, and I stood up and I looked at everybody and I said, I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so.
Yep.
Because it's just, there were still people that were like, no, Charlotte's not going to win it. I'm just like, come, you're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself if you think that fucking, like, it's, all signs are pointing that this is the way they're going.
You could have made a real case for Roxanne Perez.
Oh, you could have.
She
You
came
could
in
have.
at
And
number
he,
3.
again,
She broke Bailey's record in it from number 3 and is in the final 2.
she could have, without question, what a story that would have been. I'm just like, I'm finishing up in NXT, and then the following, like, see, you're at Stand and Deliver, and then the next night you're challenging blah 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 for one of the championships.
Right.
That would have been a great story, and that really would have rocket propelled like Roxana, where again that she could have been someone that needed it, and Charlotte didn't fucking need this at all.
No.
And when we found out the next day, the narrative that they're now going to go with, which is you're trying to get sympathy for someone that the fan base is unsympathetic with. It will always be unsympathetic with, right or wrong in this situation. Because yes, she is going through a divorce or went through one with Andrade, which she's now closing in on her dad's numbers. I mean, fuck.
You're welcome.
Oh my God. I trust me, I know the numbers in my head. I was just like, I think it's 3 or 4. Like, and and it was confirmed as 4. Also has terrible taste in men, concerning the fact that she was almost with Del Rio at one point a few years back. Which, Jesus Christ, like, what is wrong with you? But in this situation, I liked Andrade. It's not like I'm sitting here and shitting on Andrade. It just didn't work out. Which all I'm going to say is that because I've been through a divorce, and I don't fault people that have been through 1. I don't fault people that have been even through 2. After 3 or 4, maybe the fucking problem is you, though. That's something that you maybe need to kind of fix yourself before you can even get into that position again. Because it's obviously not fucking working. And yeah, I feel like you have that Flair gene that it's just like, I need to be in a committed relationship, but not at the same time. And that's kind of the direction you're in. The fact that Monday they decided to spin it and make it seem like, again, is a sympathetic time for you. It's really a kind of a narrative that you just can't do with Charlotte. You can't do it. There's several. You could do it with Rhea. You can do it with. There's a Bailey. There's a shit ton of women in this industry you could do it with. Because of the fact of the reaction that she got when she won it, it is obvious to me, even though she was out all of last year, that the audience is still like, we're tired of this. And of course she comes back, and of course she wins the Rumble, and of course she's going to be at WrestleMania in a prominent program fucking again. And it sucks. It sucks because I wanted somebody else to get this spot, to get the kind of the rub, because you have so much depth in the roster right now for women. And you're booking it again like it's just like, oh, we have to go with old reliable. Why? You don't need to. You don't need to go.
The thing is this, Dan. I think putting her in a prominent program with somebody like Tiffany Stratton is actually a good thing.
That's the only way.
As much as I hate to say that, they did this with Rhea twice already, where they put her with Charlotte and had great matches at WrestleMania.
It can't be a third match too in this.
I don't want that.
No. I don't want a third match between the two.
They're even teasing it.
No, it's stupid. It's dumb. I don't think Rhea wants that. I don't think Charlotte wants that. The only direction this goes is Charlotte and Tiffany. I think that is the only direction that this should go. And the fact of the matter is that is the only thing that can make me swallow this and be fine with it and be like, okay, because I feel like you wasted a year, kind of, because there are other people that could have got sprung up on and again, too, I feel like there's other people on the roster that are far more talented that I'm not knocking for Charlotte. It's just the fact of is that, again, it's like we're going back to this. But, and again, and to also prove to say this to my friend, I'm not trying to mean what you said, but you could have her win like an elimination chamber or something like that down the line and have somebody win the Rumble and get that direction. But I understand. I understand the idea that this is what we need to do, where it's just Charlotte wins, so that way we can do Tiffany and Charlotte. Okay, I'm fine with it. I have no issue with it. But it's still just, it's like we're going here again.
Listen, I get it. It's just, Tiffany being, her first WrestleMania as a champion, you could do worse than Charlotte Flair.
I agree.
Do I love it? No. Do I hate it though? No. I think it's this middle ground where I 100% agree with your sentiment that it could have been anybody else, give somebody else in the roster a chance, which you could argue the men did. We'll talk about that later. And I'm fine with that. But again, like having it be Charlotte, having it be this, old faithful, old reliable, whatever. More like Old Yeller, I'm sure some people feel like. I just, it doesn't do anything for me. Again, you have Roxanne Perez, who now broke the record for the longest time in the Royal Rumble for the women's side, who is in there since number 3. That you could strap a rocket ship to. I know the term is rocket, but I'm saying rocket ship because she is still much like Tiffany Stratton, very young, but still very talented. You could strap that rocket ship on her now and ride it out. And you could have her pull a Charlotte and maybe challenge Julia and bring that to WrestleMania. You could have her face somebody like Tiffany Stratton, where they're both young women who are probably the future of the company. You could have her face Rhea Ripley as a, big versus a little. I'd say David versus Goliath, but Rhea's not that big. Holy shit. But you could do any of these. And especially Roxy versus Tiffany, it's a believable match because Tiffany's, not as huge, still Bionic Barbie, don't get me wrong. And they're both younger talents. Not saying Rhea's really that much older than both of them, but whatever. No. You could do all that. You could make the argument for Raquel Rodriguez versus Rhea Ripley. You could make an argument for Stephanie Vicaire. Alexa just got back. I don't know if I want to do that. Michin's been in a program with Chelsea Green. You could make an argument for Jordan Grace, especially now that you've signed her to a contract. Natalya is an established talent as well, just like Charlotte Flair. Piper Niven could be given a chance. Naomi could be given another chance, even though I think that's going to come down to some kind of a...
Chelsea Green could even be given the chance.
Yeah, I was going to say that for the whole, Michin thing, but yeah. Piper Niven's another one. Piper Niven hasn't had a title match in over a year, I feel like.
No. Plus that storyline, too, of kind of Chelsea now being like, why are you getting the title shot? Like, that whole, you could have all this kind of friction between the two now, but
dude, you could do
also
Valkyria, Dan, and have her do, what Warrior did back in the day from the women's side and unify the women's intercontinental title with one of the world titles.
Fuck that. I'd still be mad
I
if they had
know.
Laya Valkyria. I'd
I
be
know.
more mad
I
if
would
it
be
was Laya
pissed, too.
Valkyria over
I would
fucking
be
Charlotte.
I know.
It's like, all right, fine. I'll take Charlotte over fucking Laya Valkyria.
You know what, man? Give Lash Legend a chance.
Yeah,
like,
she had a great fucking performance.
She did.
She really like. It's like, oh, she's made roster ready now.
Yeah,
like you can just
a lot of them are.
You can do this now.
A lot of them are. You can maybe make an argument for Ivy Nile too, but then she got eliminated by Maxine Dupree, so maybe not so much. But still, my whole point is, it's like
she's sitting there. She's like, "Who's fucking eliminating me? What?
I mean,
fuck is this?"
I knew that was coming either way. So as soon as she came out, I was like, "Well, bye, Ivy Nile." Yeah, I mean, listen, for all intents and purposes, it's still a great match, still a serviceable women's match. It's not my favorite over the last few years. It still does the trick, though. Am I upset that it's Charlotte Flair? Yes. Am I pissed off about it? No. It is what it is. It's a serviceable Royal Rumble match with a lot of great women talent that arguably could have been better, but, like you said, unfortunately, we called it.
Yes, it's. I sit here now and I'm like, this blows, but and I think my next thought was, I'm just like, I need to get high. Like that's the only thing, the only solace I got from this, because it was like, yeah, I called it right. I hate that, but what can you do? And then the thought of, yeah, program with her and Tiffany will be fun. But then Monday, it's like, why are we even teasing this?
Yeah.
And it's just, again, it's not like the whole thought process that these guys have of, oh, we're going to get our sympathy with the Andrade split. No, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
I don't
All
think
it's
they're
going
going
to,
that angle at all.
my year sucked. And it comes out conveniently the same day that she's going to cut that promo.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yep.
Like,
we'll see. Listen, I don't know. We'll see, though, because it just seems like they're going to revert her heel at this point. And not for nothing, I think they should. I hated her as a face.
They have to.
I hated her as a face.
No, she's not a good face. She's like her old man.
I mean,
there were moments her old man where it was a great phase, but there were most of the career. Yeah, he could. Like, he could. But, like...
She can't do it.
No, she can't do it. No.
All right.
Except when she was, like, tag teaming with Shotzi, but that was because she was with Shotzi.
Yeah, that wasn't because of her. At all.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, at all. All right, so I figure let's just kind of segue here into the next match, though. So again, for those that followed along last week, we called the card. The next match, indeed, was the 2 out of 3 falls match for the tag team championships. DIY, the champions, versus Motor City Machine Guns. And I'm going to be 100% honest. This was a little bit better than I expected. Until the finish.
Oh, I hated it. I hated the finish.
I was like,
why did you just fucking put this on goddamn main event last week? Like, why did this need to? Why couldn't you just put? It was fucking sucked. It was so bad. Like, you're just sitting there and you're like, really? Fucking really? Like, really?
Yep. So.
Dog shit.
We were right about it going to 3 falls, at least. We were right about 3 falls. However, the 3rd fall went to DIY because the Street Profits got involved, attacked. I think it was Shelby, right? He attacked Shelby, or both of them even. I don't even remember.
I think it was both of them.
Yeah, but so they attack Motor City Machine Guns. DIY wins, and then Street Profits attack DIY in like a double turn.
Fucking hate that.
It was so stupid. And it wasn't even a double turn. It was just because of the whole situation with them getting attacked backstage by Pretty Deadly. It's just so dumb, man.
It's They didn't need to do it this week. It could have went on fucking Saturday night's main event last week, and it would have been better. The audience did not give a flying fuck about this match, unfortunately.
No, they didn't. I would argue that the crowd was almost completely dead during this match.
Oh, they were almost. I could hear a pin drop. I felt like at certain points.
Yep.
And that's not to those guys. It's just they were in an impossible spot. Especially too concerning what the next match was. But the less said I felt like about this match, the better. It was good. I didn't care.
I thought they should have added a women's match in its place instead.
I agree.
Yeah, you have two matches between this and the Rumble. Then you had 2 men's matches between Cody and KO and the men's Rumble. And that's
problem is though, it goes against my booking philosophy. You never want to book two women's matches back to back.
I don't think you would have a choice. You
wouldn't have a choice.
You could have booked, I guess, Cody and KO first, but that wouldn't have
made
sense.
But that's the problem where, like, and I think they follow my philosophy too, because you don't want to do that, because it's unfortunately sometimes with women's matches that becomes a automatic. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the contestant stance. And it's nothing they're doing. It's just sometimes it just happens.
It's just the placement of the match.
Yes.
I don't. In this regard, in this evening, there's no getting out of this being that match.
No.
Because everybody's going to run to the bathroom after the Rumble match. They're going to sit there for Cody, obviously, and KO. They're going to sit there for the men's Rumble match. This falls right into that. All right, it's time to go to the bathroom match. So, ironically enough, as kind of we were talking a little bit earlier about it, as soon as the Women's Rumble was over, Dan and I had more to do.
Yeah.
So we stepped out, did our thing for a little bit. Just gonna
Boo ran.
Okay, there we go. Just gonna, step out.
Smoke.
Oh yeah, I could do that too.
Smoke.
So we did that. And we came back. And now, because there are so many like infomercials and promo commercials, whatever you want to call them, during these PLEs, we got back right as this match was in the entrances.
Yes, that was surprising how we timed that off. Of just like, oh, they didn't even start yet. Shit, like.
Yep.
Because
the irony is that had we missed it, we wouldn't have been disappointed anyways.
No, I wouldn't have cared. I would have been like, all right. Yeah, you know what's funny? I didn't even talk about it because it just came to me because I felt like one of the highlights of the day for me was actually going to was our stop before we headed over to Buraz in Northeastern. The Emporium. Go see Eric if you can over there. I gotta dig up the name. Forgive me. Do.
Oh shit.
Because
I'm not booked.
I hadn't been there in over a year because I unfortunately sometimes with the way things are, yes. The way that things are. The Emporium of Retro and Interesting Collectibles. It's in Northeastern Massachusetts. Go see Eric over there. I strongly recommend it. He has, even Mac was impressed of just how goddamn big this place was and just the amount of stuff that it had.
It's the real obscurity of items that he had.
Yes.
Like, I was shocked. And a lot of it, this is probably like an infomercial for this place at this point. A lot of it is very well, if not very reasonably priced.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, before you go say anything, I need to mention this. I should have pulled the picture. I apologize, but one of the first things you see when you walk in, aside from obviously all this stuff, if you look ahead and then slightly to the left, there is an unboxed Bill Goldberg.
Yes.
Who, I don't know who did this, but they crafted this little paper bag and it had a frown face on it. and they put it over Bill Goldberg's head.
I believe that's Eric because Eric is a Bret Hart guy.
I don't care who it was. It was fucking hilarious.
I know. No, yeah, we have such good conversations sometimes about like old school wrestling.
And he had the Rumbles on in the background too.
He did.
Awesome.
He has like a TV just completely dedicated to wrestling. And what was funny was is that a couple of years back, I went in and looked through his wrestling DVD collection, which he has a really, really, really great one. So I'm like, hey, do you got Self-Destruction of the Ultimate Warrior? He's just like, no way would I have that hatchet job in my in my establishment. Yeah. And that's because his profile picture on Facebook is him in the Warrior mask. It's like, okay. I don't think he's big on Hogan, but I know he's big on Warrior and Bret Hart because obviously with the Goldberg thing. So the big thing that came out of that, which is one of the big highlights, a few years ago, Mattel Creations had released this huge ring set, new generation ring set, which came with a display, and it's great. Boo-Ran has it. He bought it for himself because he does a lot of figure photography, and he needs that stuff for that. And he does great work. If you want to look for a Billy Nichols brand on Instagram, you'll be able to check out his work. And he needs that. He needs that set. He needs that and a lot of the work that he's done with that set has been incredible. And I saw the light up set last weekend. He showed me, and Max saw it, and it is very impressive. It is very nice. However, everything I own is in box. And for that, but what came with the ring set was, part of it was 3 Ultimate figures. One was Diesel, one was Doink, and one was the Macho Man from WrestleMania 10. So I think when the set came out, it was, I don't know if it was 500, it might have been 250. I don't know. It was pretty hefty. And I didn't want to pull the trigger on it. And I decided against it. But the figures are highly sought after. So about a year ago, no, not even a year ago, it was back in June, I was able to get the Diesel figure from that set. And so I just needed to get the Doink and the Macho Man. So knowing this, I went into Eric's. Also, after when your return hits on the same day, you start thinking, okay, if I can get it a good price, maybe we can do some things to get some FOMO. And I did have some stuff to trade in. Unfortunately, he has become more selective with the stuff that and I get it. I completely get it. It's the stuff that I was bringing in is the reason why I'm getting rid of it is because of the fact that I don't need the sets anymore because they're made by the stuff. Everything that I've had to replace it has been Mattel, and Mattel has done such a much better job on this stuff. So I was getting rid of this stuff, even though they're considered ringside exclusives and they have some value. I have them right now up for sale on one of the classic superstars groups. They ain't moving. So it's one of those deals of maybe someday I'll be able to get them, unload them cheap, which I'll probably get to a point of just saying, all right, this, and it's gone, just to kind of get out of the house. And I don't mind. Like, the thing about it is that I'm very frugal when it comes to this stuff. And I try to usually get a deal. And I paid retail for it. It's not like I paid anything like exorbitant. So if I lose a couple of dollars over time, so be it. It's just, I spent the money anyways. It's gone. I've collected it. It's just how it goes. So it's not like I'm holding a grudge or anything with Eric, because it's just like, it's a business. And I get it. I get what also the overhead and all the stuff the factors of it. And if you know it's not going to sell, you're not going to buy it. So I got it from that. So that didn't bother me. But he had the Doink and he had the Macho Man. So he told me the price of both. I guess the Macho Man had come down quite a bit, which is surprising considering the fact that Macho Man, the figures anyways, I figured would be more, concerning the fact of that Mattel doesn't have a Macho Man license right now. You can get Macho Man figures from like third-rate companies, but Mattel and Macho Man do not have figures right now. They had to cancel or delay. I guess there's a whole thing of them right now, but they did a WrestleMania 7 Macho Man Ultimate that was supposed to be coming out, that got canceled, delayed. They probably were produced, but they're sitting in a warehouse somewhere, just waiting for that IP to get signed, so that way they could just release them. And so the Macho Man, however, had come down in price. The Doink had kind of held price. So he told me the price of both, and I said, shot him a number, and he took it. And I was surprised, because it was a really good price. And if I'm doing the math right, on the three figures, I think I paid less for the three figures combined than what I would have had to pay for the ring and the shipping and all that stuff, the taxes that kind of come in with all that. So I think I paid less, which even when I talked to Billy about it later, he was rather surprised as well. And we were talking this week too, because we talked earlier in the week, me and him. He called me up, and I'm getting to the point of with my collection where there are very few more hills to climb. It's just like you're at a point now where it's like you're starting to, the hills are no longer there. It's like, because everything now that's coming out is like, it's new, so you're paying retail anyways. You're not overpricing. You're not chasing things. You're not chasing grails. You're getting to that point of just like, and thank God for PayPal paying for it too, right? Because you're just like, because it's like, oh, it's 100, but if I break it up in 25 a piece over four, like it's only 25 a paycheck. That's not bad, So that's how kind of you look at it, and you think to yourself, because, but also too, what I do is fun, but also too, it's part of a deal where it's a business, where I know a lot of this stuff down the line is going to be worth something, or at least it's going to be able for me, it's going to retain some sort of value. I don't expect I'll ever lose like a lot of money on this stuff. It's just one of those deals of, it probably evens out. There's some stuff that maybe has lost value, but then there's other stuff that's just like, holy shit, I didn't expect it was worth that fucking much.
It depends. I mean, there's some stuff like the belts that you're never gonna get rid of anyways. So
Some of them I might. You never know. Probably
Well,
not though.
Like the Universal one, I could maybe see you parting with, but so there are just some like if you ever had the Winged Eagle, I don't know if you have it or not, I don't remember, but if you
I
had
do.
that one, you're never gonna get rid of that one.
Well, I might get rid of the Winged Eagle I have because I want to get one with 4mm plates instead of 2.
You know
But
what
also,
I mean? No, you're if you're gonna get rid of it, you're upgrading it. You're not
yes,
getting rid of it just for the sake of getting rid of it. Is my point.
I think the next belt I want to get is the CM Punk design one. I was thinking about getting it for because I was offered to get it for Christmas, and the problem is that the one that I would be getting is not the $600 to $700 one the shop was selling. It was going to be something probably what we would say is a knock. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just, hey, that looks similar. Um,
Yeah.
and
I don't
but
think I'd get that personally, but I can see why if you're like a Punk diehard, I'd consider it for sure.
yeah, it's just well, I look at the fact that the figure collection of him, because I remember it was actually the weekend of surprisingly All Out, the 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 presser that he had that weekend. I remember I was hanging out with Billy, and I remember that weekend. Going into that weekend, I didn't have any CM Punk figures at all, like any of them. And I think by the end of the weekend, I walked out with like 3. Like, and that's, but now gradually over the last couple of years, it's like steadily grown. It's gotten like a lot like and especially with him going to WWE, I just got they did one of the return from, let's see if it's around. When he made his return back in, of course, oh yeah, it's right here. About that. When he made his return at Survivor Series, so Mattel Creations did
Nice.
was able to do the exclusive. This is also made to order, so it's like if you didn't order it in the amount of time that it was made, you're fucked. Like it wasn't. It's not one of those deals where they overproduce.
Right.
Which is a good thing about Mattel sometimes. Because other things where there's a lot of things in the industry in collecting where it's like one day it's scarce and then the next day, oh, we're doing a re-release and from the vault. Fuck, this thing just plummeted in value. I have a Becky Lynch one that is really, really rare. It's like up there now and like it's getting in the 2s. And Billy already told me because he's just like, you know what's going to happen, right? And I'm like, fuck you. Because the funny thing is he got screwed a little bit by me. Not a little bit, a lot of bit. So a couple of years ago, I bought this Amazon exclusive rock. It was like rock from like 99 with, and so it was really like prime rock. And so it was around Christmas one year. I was just like, I need to sell this thing because I know it's getting a pretty penny. So I think I sold it to Billy for like $150. And last year, sure enough, they announced they were doing a re-release. So I was able to buy it. and I remember when so I was able to buy it. I think and I was able to send it to Billy and just being like, I just wanted to tell you, I'm so sorry, but not at the same time. Because it's like, he bought it. Like, I sold it the time so high, thinking that they're not going to do a re release of it. And then all of a sudden, From the Vault comes out. And he's just like, motherfucker.
Oh man.
He keeps bringing up though. He's waiting for Becky Lynch at re-release to get announced. He's waiting for that so that we could just pounce on it and just be like, you got to deal with it too. And that's the hard part of the industry. Sometimes of especially collecting, because it's like one day you're riding high and the next day all of a sudden I'm just like, so we're doing a re-release, motherfucker. Like, but what can you do? So
yeah, I think that would bring us to
good intermission on that one, right?
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, I think that'll bring us to KO and Cody now at this point.
Yes.
Because,
why not? It was kind of a slow burn at first. Like, I remember at a certain point, I think I looked at everybody, I was just like, anybody else find this boring?
Yeah.
Like, because it's just...
You expected it from the tag team match. You didn't expect it from this. That was part of it.
I didn't expect it to be like this slow and plotting, like methodical, like ladder match. Because in my mind, that is the way that these guys. And again, I guess it's because I was talking earlier about the women's match and the entries that were coming out of just kind of overthinking and just thinking our brains are coming up with scenarios that are just kind of impossible at certain points. And I didn't think that with this, only because of the fact that there was such hatred and there was such shit that was going on between these two, that it was just going to be this balls to the wall, like fucking everything. We're going to like, everybody's using like weapons, Cody's bringing out cowbells. Somebody, KO at one point did get it split open, but it wasn't the bloodbath or kind of hardcore battle that I thought it was going to be. Some spots though that were really hardcore, but it wasn't like El Generico and Kevin Steen from like Ring of Honor, where they're bridging ladders and doing package pile drivers on them. Yeah. It wasn't that. And I didn't expect that at certain points. But at this point, you got KO being able to do the package pile driver on people. So you're thinking, maybe they'll let him do it on the ladder. Like, maybe. And this would be the perfect scenario. And he almost did. Like, he teased it. And you're just like, holy shit. But he took two really hardcore bumps in this where I was just like, I felt it. You're just feeling it for him. And of course,
they also had a lot of close calls, it looked like, too.
It did. But
like, I have it up right now where he does the Fisherman Buster off the top rope. And listen, Cody took it like a champ, I'll say that. But we had to watch it 3 times from 3 different angles to realize, okay, KO didn't hit his head. He's just selling that he did.
Right.
Because it really looked like he did. But also, prior to that, he takes the, I forget the name of the move at this point because it's a blur, but he takes that one move where he lands like in the small of his back.
Oh, the backdrop.
The backdrop.
Yeah, the backdrop.
I don't know why I was blanking on that. I remember earlier when I was thinking about it. But he took that and, they broke the bottom rung and beat each other with it. Cody took that one fall on the ramp too, where he went through the ladder, the support parts of it.
Right.
It's like, holy crap. And then, here's the Alabama Slam where he's just, at this point, right before this, they have a long shot of what it looks like, and Sammy's in the background, like, oh shit, please don't. That's my friend. Please don't do that.
Right.
And it's just, they made it work, and the winner of the match is Cody Rhodes. But like you said, it was a slow build to get there, and it picked up momentum. But it was one of those matches where it's like, I thought this was going to be a bloodbath, and like you said, okay, KO got split open, but it wasn't kind of like what I thought it was going to be.
It wasn't this. Because I remember his old man was involved.
That was a bloodbath.
the Great American Bash, I think in '87. He wrestled Tully Blanchard at one point, and it was actually a ladder match with like barbed wire involved.
Yep.
And it didn't but so you'd think to yourself, maybe you'd watch that and kind of come up with some ideas. Maybe the barbed wire is gimmicked, just completely go balls to the wall with this.
I was expecting chairs. I was expecting
Yeah.
ladders. I was
No,
expecting a bull rope, like you said. I was expecting maybe some barbed wire because it's Kevin Owens, and
None of
there
it.
was none of it. I think the most exotic weapon they used was the tiny ladder, which Pat McAfee thought was hilarious.
That was funny when
The baby ladder.
when KO almost jumped off it. He's just like, that's stupid. Like he's
Yeah, it was
he's
funny. Yeah.
he's there were some really fun moments in this match. I of course at the end you're thinking that Sami Zayn's gonna jump in, which I guess everything kind of played into what happened on Monday.
Yep.
With him getting but yeah, it was well done. I just expected more. I think more kind of hardcoreness in this matchup, so to speak.
No, I agree, and I think that despite the word, maybe is the best way to put it. Like you kind of walked in thinking this is going to be all out, no pun intended, and it it was very tame to start, and then it picked up momentum, and you can make the argument that wasn't a bloodbath, okay, but it did have its moments where it's like, oh shit. But they came kind of, I felt, at the expense of the momentum of the match. And that was the biggest gripe for me. Because, like you said, I, I'm thinking the same thing that you said when you asked it. Like, is anybody else kind of about this match at this point? And I remember you asking the question. I'm just thinking to myself, damn, I'm not the only one.
Right.
And I felt that even the crowd was kind of like that too. They really weren't into it till probably halfway through the match when KO does the Fishman Buster off the top rope or off the second rope onto the ladder. I think at that point they're into it. I think before that, when Cody takes the bump on the outside where he goes through the support part of the ladder onto the concrete, when KO takes the backdrop off the ladder, I think they're into those moments. But at this point, it's been very inconsistent pacing till the end. And then when he hits the Fishman Buster, and maybe a few minutes before that, I feel is when they start hitting their jive, right? Where it's starting to flow a little bit better, the timing is a little bit better, everything's better. And then at that point, the crowd's into it. And I felt like that was the unfortunate part of this match, right? Was they really didn't get the crowd into it till halfway through the match. Not saying up to that point was bad, the pacing was just not there.
Right.
But I mean, listen, overall, I think this is exactly what I'd expected it to be. A couple high spots and Cody winning the match.
No, it was to be as expected. I just thought, again, it was just going to be kind of more violent, but c'est la vie. The spots were still pretty good. The question is now, what is next for Cody? Excuse me. Only because of the fact that is he going to be involved in Elimination Chamber? And it seems like they're working an injury angle, so who knows?
I don't think he should at this point. I don't think Gunther is going to work it, so why should he?
Probably not. I think they're going to be waiting the winners or winner of the one match that's going to decide who's going to challenge Cody.
It's tough, man. We'll talk about it obviously in a few minutes here with the men's rumble, but I think it's tough because you look at Gunther and the winner of the Rumble, who we'll say obviously in a few minutes, not like nobody knows. But you look at then Tiffany Stratton, and again, most likely it should be Charlotte Flair for her. So then, who wins Elimination Chamber for the women or men? It's almost up in the air. It feels like, and we'll kind of talk through that a little bit. But like, I don't think Rhea has. You could make the argument for Liv Morgan, sure, but I don't think they should do that again at this point.
No, been there, done that.
And then Cody Rhodes. I mean, listen, we talked a little bit about it after the show on the way back to your place, but you have options, but I don't think they're going to use any of those options in that match.
No.
I unfortunately think it's going to be the guy who we don't want it to be.
No,
like I want it, for the Rumble. But
yeah,
it almost feels like maybe that might be the case. But who knows? Maybe it ends up being a heel Sami Zayn. Who knows? Maybe KO turns him somehow, but it feels like even that isn't going to happen because I feel like it's going to be KO and Sami at WrestleMania this year. So I don't know. It's a weird kind of pathway they're going to take for this, unless the great one, The Rock, all of a sudden activates himself and puts the Elimination Chamber. Then
am I going to be final boss again? It's just
yeah, who knows?
It is. We came into the Rumble last week. We both came into this match with no clear winner. Like, we thought it was going to be CM Punk or Roman Reigns, and we had discussed the thought of also John Cena being thrown in there, but there was the thought that also it could be somebody random. And that kind of was a thought process going into this match. And everybody that I had just named all factored into the final six.
Yep.
Or the final the final 6-7 of the match.
6 to 8, we'll say.
Yeah, with the final 6 to 8. And so we weren't far off. But
well, you know what? I want to take it back a little bit because you're right. Obviously it's a good segue into or from, I should say, from Cody and KO. But I love how this match started because your first two entrants are Rey Mysterio and Penta.
And
it was a very cool moment to start this match with the two of them shaking hands. I thought that was great.
That was a great way to start it.
Until 5 minutes later, Penta botches. I get it. It's his first Rumble, and I know people want to shit on him for it, and I know people want to be like, no, he didn't botch. They didn't show the replay.
I didn't.
I did that. And they didn't show the replay. He didn't botch. Yeah, they didn't show the replay because he did botch.
I didn't.
I didn't, Christopher Moltisanti. I didn't. Yeah, man, like, it was so funny because I remember we're talking, at his house and we're watching, and it's like, oh, they didn't show up because he botched. No shit.
No kidding.
No fucking shit. Oh, if
they're not going to show it again.
They show the replay. Why do you think?
It's just Leonardo DiCaprio sitting there, pointing at the thing, like they don't want to put it there.
Yep, exactly. But after the botch, then Chad Gable comes up.
Oh fuck.
Which dude's surrounded by luchadors. I almost feel bad for him. Granted, number 4 is Carmelo Hayes, but then after that, you have another string of luchadors that are coming out in this match. Chad Gable just cannot catch a break, man. So number 5, Santos Escobar, another luchador.
Another one. He's just like, you gotta be kidding me.
But, and then Chad Gable's still not getting any help. Number 6 is Otis. Like, how can we fuck Chad Gable that much more at this point? But then, talking about screwing everybody over, at number 7 is Braun Breaker.
Oh, God. who again came in and cleared house like I expected him to do.
Oh man, but it gets better.
Mm.
It gets better. It's at number 8. It's Akira Tozawa. Oh no, wait a minute. No, it's not. It's I Show Speed.
Yes, I remember looking at everybody and being like, "Can I ask a question?"
Who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
Well, I think Braun Breaker heard you.
Yeah,
Because after I Show Speed helped him eliminate, I believe it was Otis actually, he spears the fuck out of him.
oh, this poor guy.
So I'm just going to tell you that Braun Breaker, when you're trying to get a screen capture of something that is actually in motion, is incredibly hard to get a screen capture for. I somehow did it twice.
Oh my god.
I have it up right now where he is spearing I Show Speed.
This did insane numbers.
Yeah, I think it was like 80 plus million
Yeah,
after 24 hours.
Unbelievable numbers, which I was just like, okay, apparently everybody else knows who he is. And the fact too is this Braun Breaker again goes viral for the right reasons.
Yep.
And this kid comes in and gets exposure to the wrestling industry and also takes a move.
Oh, he got exposed all right.
Holy shit. Like I think
Who ran?
that guy at least now can sit there and be like, oh God, he went down. I've never seen someone get hit. Oh, it was so violent.
You know, it's fun. I didn't.
It was
get the other
so
picture.
violent.
It was. I didn't get the other picture, but not only did he eat the spear, he got tossed out. Otis caught
It's like
him,
following slam.
and then
with a
Foley
fucking
slammed him
thing.
across the announce table. Yeah, it's just, oh man, talk about exposures to something.
He fucked his ankle up pretty good.
He did.
Like
yeah,
I remember,
saw the
I
picture.
was like, oh, it's brutal.
Yeah,
But,
I'm assuming he probably hit something when he landed across the announce table.
He's like,
I guess.
never again. Never
Yeah.
again.
Listen, props to Triple H for getting some kind of a celebrity into the Rumble this year again.
Yes.
But wow, that's all I'm gonna say. It's just, wow. So yeah, number 9 was Sheamus. Number 10 to close out the top 10 was Jimmy Uso. Number 11 is the widow or the widower of Charlotte Flair, Andrade. We had to talk about it. They're both there that evening. But so we go from a pretty solid top 10, top 11 to number 12, Jacob Fatu.
Oh God. People died that night.
Oh yeah. Oh yes they did. Oh yes they did. Absolutely.
People are gonna die tonight. Oh boy.
He I'm trying to see right now. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. I think he was tied for the most eliminations. I think it looks like a 3-way tie actually. So it looks like him, Roman Reigns.
Roman had like 4.
Roman had 4. Cena had 4, and they had the top 3. Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to say Jay, but it's just the way they have the spacing. It looked like 4, but it was actually 3 for Jay. But yeah, man, Jacob Fatu, the Samoan werewolf, just clearing effing house, and I felt bad because it's kind of a drama after that. So the Rumble started kind of strong, with your mid-carders and guys that are up and coming, like Penta, obviously. And then after Jacob Fatu, it made me laugh a little bit because you're next up after Jacob Fatu. Like guys are. I just wanted Jacob Fatu to kill him. I really did.
He didn't even get a chance to do anything.
Yeah, he got eliminated by Penta of all people. And then they had a match on Raw 2 nights later.
3 seconds. I think he lasted like 4
6.
seconds.
It was 6.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah. And then after guys, again, speaking of people that I wanted Jacob Fatu to murder, it was The Miz. And then speaking of people that you wanted Jacob Fatu to kill, at number 15 is TNA World Champion Joe Hendry.
Oh God. Yeah, I was like, could you just kill him, please? Can someone just kill this guy?
So the
Oh
thing
my
with Joe
God.
Hendry that I loved is again, so it would give you little tidbits, right? So after every entrance, and I've had them on the screen here, where it's just like, you know, they'll say the name, the number they're in, stuff like that, right? So Joe's was the TNA World Champion, and say
of
his
course
name
he
and
did.
he appears.
Of course he did. I just looked at who eliminated him.
Yep.
And I'm like, of course he did, and it just makes me fucking laugh.
Oh, I know. I thought it was
because
hilarious.
that was so done intentionally. Oh, that's fucking hysterical.
I'm sure that was part of the deal. It has to be.
Of course it was
to eliminate our world champion.
Guess who's eliminating you? Yep.
It's not even that, man. It's not even that. It's the fact it had to be a big name. Like Roman Reigns, CM
it had to
Punk.
be the name.
I'd say any big name would have sufficed. You're not going to have Jacob Fatu eliminate him. You're not going to have The Miz eliminate him. It had to be one of your top guys.
No, it could be The Miz. If it was The Miz, I would be like, this fucking deal is not going to work. Like, it had to be the guy, and it was the guy that took him out. So,
speaking of the guy, that's absolutely and actually who was next. Roman Reigns was number 16. Came out with Paul, had the fireworks very much like Charlotte did, but
massive fucking pyro.
Yep. Penta did too, though.
Yes.
Penta did too. A few of them did.
Yes.
I would say obviously Roman's was the biggest, but I thought this was pretty telling considering who was already in the ring. And I don't mean Joe Hendry. He had a great moment with Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker speared him, which I was like, damn, that was big. Soon, and he eliminates him, eliminates Joe Hendry, and then he has a standoff with Jacob Fatu.
Yep.
And not long after that, at number 17 is Drew McIntyre.
Oh, God.
And then, of course, Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu team up at one point to beat up on Roman Reigns, which I thought was hilarious. So yeah, there was that. And then, this is kind of, the next two, you could make the argument for three, but the next two are kind of like, eh. So number 18 was Finn Balor, who was in there for about 11 minutes. Eliminated Penta, actually. I thought that was okay. Maybe start a feud there, but it seems like
Live Valkyria lasted longer than Finn Balor.
Lyra Valkyria also lasted longer than Shinsuke Nakamura, who was number 19.
That's true. Nakamura was in there for like 90 seconds.
It was more than 90 seconds, but yeah.
Okay.
It was 90 plus 90, basically. It was 3 minutes and 17 seconds.
Okay. Yeah. So I wasn't far off.
No, you were. Just double the number you were there. But then number 20 is Jey Uso. Which, we'll talk about when we get there, because I think this was a shock for some people, and I know people already know, but,
We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about it, yep. But 21 I thought was interesting. 21 was AJ Styles finally making a return. And they brought his old music back, which I thought was perfect.
Well, yeah.
He was not a convincing heel. He wasn't.
That was a the music thing really played out in this show, because I remember half the time I was just like, who the fuck's music is that?
Well, that was more evident with the women. They were
without
NXT
question,
women and stuff like that than anything else. So yeah. So the next entrance after that, I actually had to make this. Was Braun Strowman. So Braun Strowman's actual entrant number card, they never showed it. They just went right to like a stat card for him. So I was a little surprised, not only by that, obviously, having rewatched the match, but again, Braun Strowman is only in there for about 2 minutes and 12 seconds. That's right. The first thing I'll say. And also, who actually expected Braun Strowman in the Rumble?
I did not.
He took a massive beating from Jacob Fatu the week prior on Saturday Night Main Event.
Yes.
And ironically enough, obviously, he's the person that, has that elimination is Jacob Fatu, which I was like, really? Like, this is how we're doing that now?
Yeah, that was a bit surprising.
Yeah. He gets eliminated by Cena. He eliminated Jacob Fatu, and I'm just like, really? Like, that's how we're going down with this? Like, do we really need to make this another feud like we did with Bronson Reed? Really?
Right.
I just felt it was unnecessary. But ironically enough, speaking of number 23, John Cena.
Yep.
And it's funny because after number 23, at number 24, CM Punk. Do you know that these three dudes had a standoff the entire 2 minutes that Punk came out there?
Yes.
And then at number 25, to break up that whole little party, is Seth Rollins.
He just comes at,
but you know what's funny? It's funny. I thought I had the picture of that, but I guess I didn't use it, where it's like the three of them are even closer in a standoff, and then all of a sudden you hear Seth's music and you see it on the Titantron. Seth freaking Rollins. And you just see Roman's face like, oh my God. But it's funny because, again, you have Roman's already in there. You just brought out Cena. You just brought out Punk. You just brought out Rollins. You'd think the next guy is going to be like, I don't know, like Sami Zayn, maybe.
We got to talk about that moment that Roman and Seth had in this match.
Well, we'll get there.
Okay.
But before we get there, do you know who comes out at number 26? Do you remember?
Sami Zayn?
No, that was 27.
No.
Fucking Dom Mysterio.
Oh, yeah, Dom. I forgot about that.
Just the most random placement for him to come out. And I have it on right now where...
2 minutes? He was out there fast.
4 minutes, but yeah.
Oh, jeez.
So he has a moment where he hits Frog Splash, I believe, on AJ. And then he's looking around for somebody to fight. He goes to start doing Three Amigos to Roman. And Roman just sandbags him. Just absolutely sandbags him. So they get in the corner. He picks Dom up. He's acting like he's going to shake his hand at everything and just pops him in the face. Just effing hilarious. Like, of all the things that are going to happen to Dom, that just... Oh my
just
God.
treats him like an absolute piece of shit, which is what he is.
Yep, absolutely. But then, to your point, though, at number 27 is Sami Zayn. Yep. Should have came out at 26, but I guess, we have to wait for Dom to get eliminated first. So at number 28, Damian Priest, which he was the one that actually eliminated Dom. It wasn't Roman, which I thought was kind of weird. And number 29, L.A. Knight.
Yeah.
Somebody who I thought really could have gone in this match, only in it for 5 minutes.
Well,
he made the most of his 5 minutes, and if you ask Drew McIntyre about that...
Oh, yeah, he really made the first... God.
He definitely did.
Oh, God.
But then at number 30 is Logan Paul, which... I was so mad at Logan Paul at number 30. I knew it was. The more you went down the list, the more you're like, okay, this person hasn't come out yet. This person hasn't come out yet. And I know that this person really wanted Matt Cardona to come out.
Oh, yes. Everybody wanted... That's all I heard all night was fucking Matt Cardona. I'm like...
What is this, like 2005 Bret Hart? Like, come on, shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
But, yeah, we still had a lot of moments in this match. I guess I didn't have the other one with the stare down between Rollins and Roman. It feels like Roman had a stare down with like half the fucking Rumble roster. But, so...
Because it was Aura.
Yeah, no, yeah. But when that happened, him and Seth are fighting right near the ring ropes, obviously. CM Punk comes over, eliminates them both. And then fucking Logan Paul
Piece of shit.
eliminates CM Punk.
Heel of the night. All night, he was just the heel of the night.
Yeah, he really was. But, and then the three of them, I shouldn't say the three of them, but, Roman's pissed at Punk for eliminating him. Punk's like, are you fucking
We
serious?
just teamed 2 months ago. It's like, that's hilarious.
Look, though, that it's like, are you fucking serious? Shut the fuck up.
Punk's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And then Seth just fights both of them.
Oh, Seth just fucking snapped. It was just like, all right, I'm fucking taking both of you on.
Yeah. I didn't get any pictures for it, but one of the things that happened before this, it was a few minutes before, is Drew McIntyre gets eliminated. I want to talk about that because that's been in the news a lot. So Damian Priest is supposed to eliminate him. It looked more like Jey Uso. If you were looking at the placement of all the wrestlers when this was happening, it's hard to describe, obviously. There's so much going on in the ring, obviously, but I've rewatched it like 20 times at this point. And I did it again today, getting the captures. What happens is LA Knight is kind of waiting for Logan Paul to turn around so he can pop him in the face. But he's a little bit too close to the middle of the ring. So when Damian Priest and Jey Uso are going to eliminate Drew McIntyre, you kind of see Damian Priest having to pick up the pace to actually get there because he has to move around LA Knight.
Right.
So supposedly that's part of the heat that Drew has with LA Knight. And I guess he was picking spots too that weren't discussed beforehand, but it didn't seem like that was the case because Drew didn't really seem to be involved in any of those spots anyways.
No, that's true.
Speaking of spots that I actually did enjoy, though, that was initiated by LA Knight, which just hilarious. He throws Logan Paul into the turnbuckle. Logan falls, and they start taking turns between LA Knight, AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and just stomping a mud hole into fucking Logan Paul. And I thought that was just gold. Like, dude's this massive heel right now, and everybody is taking a turn just stomping the shit out of him. Just, chef's kiss, man.
As they should.
Yep, as they should, absolutely. But, we get to the final three, and it's Logan Paul and John Cena and Jey Uso, and I am terrified.
Yes, I think we all were.
And I'm even more terrified when John Cena eliminates Logan Paul, so it's now him and Jey Uso.
Especially how he did it. Because he took the fucking goddamn super kick, and then all of a sudden it was just like, and then hit the running clothesline to eliminate Logan Paul.
I mean, I didn't hate that because Roman had literally 20 minutes before did the same thing to Braun Breaker. He eats the spear, gets up, he's about to get thrown out, does a reversal, and throws out Braun Breaker instead. So I'm not going to sit here and hate on Cena for that, but yeah, it definitely made me effing nervous because his last three guys now.
You're Super Cena, this fucking asshole.
Nah.
He's doing it again.
You know what I also hated is the fact that he gave Jey Uso the 5-knuckle shuffle. I despise that.
Yes.
Especially knowing what we know now, where Jey is able to get back on the ring while Cena is still on the apron, and your 2025 Men's Royal Rumble winner, thank God, is Jey Uso. I don't care, thank God.
No, it was Jey Uso needed the Royal Rumble, and he got the Royal Rumble. Jey Uso needed Money in the Bank last year. He didn't get it. And I think the Gunther match may have kind of sealed it for them, for the company to make the decision to, all right, let's give this kid a run. The fact is I have to look at this and I have to say that this is the absolute right decision for the company because it is used. This is what the Royal Rumble match is for. It is used to raise somebody to the level of a main event talent. And Jey Uso has been calling himself main event Jey Uso for ages now. I think when he won the Intercontinental Championship from Braun Breaker, that also solidified a lot of things in people's minds. When you had people crying over him winning the Intercontinental Championship. It was a short reign, but at the same time, I think it kind of set the road to where Jey Uso is now headed for WrestleMania, probably going to be challenging Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship, and will probably be winning the World Heavyweight Championship. And it couldn't, I think, happen to a better talent. It's rant time, folks. Unless Mac wants to go first and then give me the floor.
No, go for it.
Kind of give reaction. This whole week, I have read nothing but negativity and questioning Triple H's booking. And the majority of the fan base saying that John Cena should have won the Royal Rumble. And I kept thinking to myself, what the fuck has happened over the last 10 or 15 years? Because of the fact that if this was 2015, if this is 2020, if this was 26, anywhere in this direction, if John Cena won the Royal Rumble, there would have been pitchforks and torches outside of the offices in Stamford, Connecticut. But now, because it's his retirement tour, everybody on the planet is like, he has to win the Royal Rumble. The fact is, folks, John Cena is not going to be there in a year. He's not going to be at next year's Royal Rumble. Jey Uso is. Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble to set him up to be in a position where he could be the next John Cena, or at least a John Cena-like figure.
I was going to say, please don't make him the next John Cena.
No, you know what I mean, in like a direction of a company guy and things of that nature. But all I heard was the negativity. All I heard was everybody just being like, yeah, but. And this is why, for so many years, McMahon just kept booking the old reliables. He kept going back to Brock Lesnar. He kept going back to the part-timers because he was right.
Bring me money.
He didn't give a shit about the loyalists. He didn't give a shit about the hardcores. He gave a shit about the people that, even though it might have been once a year, was going to pay all this money to go to WrestleMania to watch whoever was going to be in the main event. And the actual fan base that it watches every week and things of that nature suffered severely. I do remember the backlash of 2014 Royal Rumble. I do remember the backlash of the 2015 Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
I remember both those clear as fucking day. I remember both guys getting booed out of the building. You know what I didn't see this year at the Royal Rumble? I didn't see one person leave the fucking building when Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble. I saw 65,000 plus doing the yeet.
Yep.
It's more than just a gimmick. But the fact is that with the behavior of everybody online, with the behavior of these people that 10 or 15 years ago was doing the same thing I was and bashing John Cena, but now all of a sudden changing course and changing direction because this guy is on a retirement tour and now fact checking themselves and not being able to stay the course and stay the course of being able. And it's not a nostalgia trip. It shouldn't be one. It shouldn't be this huge thing that everybody is just sitting there and they're just like, oh, this is it. This is for a guy who had his run. This is for a guy who had his run for a lot longer than it probably should have been. There have been far more talented performers in this industry than the guy that's being celebrated this year. He's getting his moment in the sun. He'll probably be at WrestleMania. He'll probably be challenging Cody Rhodes. He'll probably be in another main event. Should he win? Probably not. Is he going to win? Probably not. But all these people that for 10 or 15 years they were sick of the Cena era, that all of a sudden now it's just like they're having these reminiscent feelings and just thinking to themselves, I don't, like I continue this ride. I've wanted it to be over since 2005. And I'm finally getting it to be over. Jey Uso deserved it. Jey Uso is going to be there in a year. Jey Uso is going to be there probably in 5 years. John Cena is going to be there. Not
6 to 9 months.
That's it. That's what you're getting of this guy. You're getting the retirement tour. That's what we're getting. Great. And that's it. After this year, I don't have to worry about seeing but you know what? This is to everybody.
All I can think of anytime I hear is sound now, the trumpets, is when Paul Heyman did it. That's all I can
Yes.
think of now.
No, that's true. Paul has definitely changed that aspect of it. But to the hardcore wrestling fans that wanted to root for John Cena and wanted John Cena to win, you're the fucking problem. You are why this industry,
I just don't get why.
And why this fan base, why these part-timers still keep taking away spots from the full-time guys, the guys that are there on TV every fucking week. You're part of the problem because you forget what brought you to the dance and made you like this and made you an internet wrestling fan. And hating John Cena was a birthright for a lot of us. And we've stayed the course and stayed steady with it. But now all of a sudden I'm seeing these people come out of the woodwork and being like, well, I want him to win. For what? Because you forgot where you came from? Because you forgot that this is the same guy that we all rallied against for years?
I mean,
and now all of a sudden it's cool to be like, oh, now all of a sudden it's cool to just, this is the guy. We're going to root for him in the Royal Rumble. Jey Uso couldn't win. Why did Jey Uso win? I don't know. Were you eating a year ago? Were you eating 6 months ago? Now all of a sudden, because he beat John Cena. The same fucking guy that we rooted and rallied against for years. Now all of a sudden, it's his last year and it's just like, he needs to win the Rumble? Get the fuck out of here.
I don't think that's why, though. Like, it's hard. If you look at the progression of the champions, whether it be Gunther or Cody Rhodes, it's hard to kind of sit there and be like, okay, right? And compare them, especially Jey Uso to Cody Rhodes, having been the last 3 Rumble winners between the two of them. You had Cody lose the first year, and while people hated it, there was the payoff the next year. You've already had Jey Uso against Gunther. And I get it. You can now play that up as I think I can do it. And the caveat is that him and Cody Rhodes are very different people, following very different paths. And the one thing that I know some people love it, some people hate it, but you've humanized Jey Uso. You can make the argument you humanized Cody Rhodes, but not to the level that you've done it with Jey Uso. Cody Rhodes was able to get over on his own just by coming back. And the pec injury definitely helped. And some of the feuds that he had, whether it be with Seth Rollins or with Brock Lesnar, whether it be with Roman Reigns or The Rock to a lesser extent, you made it make sense. But you also made it this whole bloodline story of Cody needs help. Cody got help, whether it was, obviously not now, but Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, whether it be John Cena to a certain extent, whether it be The Undertaker to a certain extent, Cody got help. Jey Uso is another one, obviously, as well, that helped him. Now you have this whole situation with Jey, though, where Jey has to go through his own ringer, right? Jey has to leave the bloodline. Jey has to rejoin the bloodline. Jey has to fight Roman numerous times and Solo numerous times and has to reforge a relationship with Sami Zayn and try to get people back on his side. It's a very different story. And one that I'm going to actually argue the fact of why Cody lost the first year was to build up Jey as a singles competitor. And now they've done that. And I think it is time to pull the trigger. And I 100% get where you're coming from with this whole Cena situation. But again, my first question is, why? Why do people want him to win? Because it's his last year?
Because I think it's this nostalgia trip. It's this nostalgia trip that everybody is on. And I understand that, I was probably in the same boat in 2002 when Hulk Hogan came back, maybe at a certain moments in 2005. But I'll tell you, at 2006 SummerSlam, I was openly rooting for Randy Orton. I was the only one in the fucking building that was. And that sometimes you've just had enough. I understood why that he was in the position that he was for as long as he was. I get it. He was a company guy.
He was because there was no one else.
Exactly. Everybody had left. But again, I understood why. I understood why they kept giving him the ball. He didn't say no. He just did it. And that is admirable. But I've been done with this fucking guy for so long. And I'm finally getting that good riddance, get the fuck out of here. But these same people that complained for years are now saying, oh, they should have let him win the Rumble.
No.
Why?
No.
Why? Why? So he could take the spot from somebody else that's going to be here in a year, and this fucking guy is not going to be here in a year.
Listen, let's put it this way, right? We're obviously on the road to WrestleMania now. This is the Rumble was that kickoff period, right? There are two caveats that I want to discuss real quick. So first of all, this is when you start seeing some of those storylines and high profile matches start to form. Is typically right around the Rumble. The other one is this. Everybody remember who wins the Rumble. Not many people always remember who wins the Elimination Chamber. If you want to have Cena versus Cody, you can still do that.
Right.
Have Cena win Elimination Chamber. Am I going to like that? No. But if we're talking about the Rumble, and again, saying that the Rumble is bigger than Elimination Chamber, people remember that more. First of all, part of that is because it's a big four. The other part is you are guaranteed a night to main event. Or a main event period if we're talking older days. if you want to go with the hot hands or to build a guy that could definitely utilize that opportunity, if I'm looking at the last two members or last two participants, if you will, of the 2025 Men's Royal Rumble, it's Jey Uso that really needs that opportunity more than John Cena.
Yes.
And the other factor here is, again, looking at the things that they can or are going to do from here. The early indication is Punk and Roman now being a triple threat with Seth Rollins. The other one, obviously, is being discussed is Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. Because, let's be real, Damian Priest did cost him the title. Could talk about that. You can make the argument that, it was CM Punk, but Damian Priest is the one that cashed in on him. The other one is Sami Zayn and KO because of what happened on Monday Night Raw. And there are definitely opportunities elsewhere in there that could definitely be high-profile matches that I don't know and I don't think we'll know right now. But if we go back to 1 and 2, I would love to see Rey Mysterio versus Penta in an actual legit WrestleMania match. I'd love that. My point is, in saying all of this, you don't need to do John Cena and fucking Cody Rhodes. Have Randy come back. Let them run it back. Have other guys, they're still there, that maybe were younger when Cena was there. Run it back. Or if you really want to give Logan Paul heel heat, have him face fucking Cena. There are so many opportunities that you do not need to give Cena a main event.
Yeah, it's, in my opinion, it's the with Jey Uso winning, you have now the sentimental, it's a story that kind of okay, we're going to give you this, but, because it's here's the workhorse guy, he's getting his shot,
yep.
And he's the full-time guy that's been there for so long, and he's going to get his opportunity. Because on the other side of that coin, they're giving it to the part-time guy, the bigger star, because, and I get it, they are a machine right now as far as they want to break Gates records and they want to break attendance records. Fact is that you're already going to sell the building out no matter who's fucking there. The building is, even though they're going to be in a high attendance range anyways, no matter what. And you're right. They don't have to do John Cena and Cody Rhodes. However, at the same time, they do. And the reason for that is because Cody has had a kind of a blah title reign. And
that's his fault, though.
It's not his fault. Creatively, it's just they've been focused on other things. They've kind of put him in different kind of binds at certain points. I mean, they've tied him into the bloodline storyline at certain points.
But I think that's the problem. So hold on for a second, right? So whether it's him and Roman or Solo or anybody else for that matter, regardless, right? He is so ingrained in that bloodline storyline and became a part of it that I don't want to say people have lost interest, but unless it involves the bloodline, let's be real, they're not as interested. I didn't hate his feud with AJ.
Sure.
It produced 2 great matches, but AJ is not a convincing heel.
No.
Solo just is Solo. You can make the argument one way or the other that it's part of the bloodline story, but it's still Solo Sikoa. Well, I can't remember who else he feuded with at that point. KO, okay, sure, KO is a convincing heel, and he has proved that time and time again, but it's just, let's be real. He's mad at Cody because of Roman Reigns.
Right.
So again, like, he can't escape it. I think, ironically, the most convincing thing that you can do for Cody right now is, with or without the title, is to turn him heel, which they've teased so many times at this point.
They might do that with the John Cena feud. That might be a way you can get that to do. Like,
I agree, but I agree. Listen,
we can sit here apathetically all we want. We can sit here and sigh and complain all we want, but the fact is that this is the direction they're going to go, and we know this. I know you know this.
I do.
I know you feel like
hate it.
I know you feel like that they don't need to do this, but at the same time, if this helps in the progression for Cody to get to be able to be a heel character or to have some type of heel elements, because the fact is that this is the only time
heel against fucking CM Punk, though, in the same fucking main event of WrestleMania, and it would make more sense than fucking John Cena.
I know
That's
it would.
my problem.
I know it would. I want it. I want CM Punk to be in the spot. There's several guys I want to see in the spot other than John Cena. But the fact is that they're going with this. They're going with it. And you can blame Dwayne for this, because if it wasn't for Dwayne, if Rock was going to be at WrestleMania this year, it was probably going to be Rock and Cody. But
him and Cody, or him and Roman, either way, yeah.
It's we expect Michael Keaton, we get Val Kilmer. It's like this is where we're at.
Why would you do that?
I'm just saying. I'm trying to tell you. I'm just trying to explain to you that this is the direction that they're going in, and this is the thought process that they have. I hate it. I don't like it at all, but I got to be honest here. And I don't want to be able to come off to tell people and just lie and just say, hey, this is how it's going to go. This is unfortunately how I feel like this is the direction they're going. And the direction they're going is it's going to be John Cena and it's going to be Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. And when John Cena said that in the promo that it's best for business, I don't think it's best for business, but they think it's best for business, and it probably will be best for business. Because again, it's probably look, the Royal Rumble was the most watched PLE in Peacock. They just said that. Like it was they just said it was the most watched PLE pay-per-view in company history. And if John Cena and Cody Rhodes is the main event for WrestleMania, they will break that record again.
Oh, here's what I'm gonna say to you. We talked a little bit about the social media reaction of Jey Uso winning, and we had talked about that since that night, even because we were seeing it even.
On that joke was fucking priceless.
Yeah, so that's actually what I'm gonna say. So one of the jokes that I saw on social media, I believe it was I think it was the next morning actually. Must have been, because I don't think we were that ingratiated with it when we got back. We were so focused on the trade. One of the social media posts that I saw, though, was a post of a post of a post, and I don't know who actually said it, and it was something along the lines of, can you imagine spending $10,000 on WrestleMania tickets only to find out that Jey Uso was in the main event? And
it just popped me. I remember so good.
It popped both of us. And it still does, obviously, as we just found out. I would rather watch Jey Uso in the main event, regardless of how I am paying for this, whether it's $10,000 for seats at WrestleMania or $7.99 on Peacock. I would much rather Jey Uso than John Cena. Hindsight being what it is now, knowing it's Jey Uso, it's easy to say that. I would have rather had CM Punk or Roman Reigns or probably anybody in that match except Akira Tozawa and I Show Speed in the main event. I just my biggest gripe with Cena being in that position is just quite simply this, right? If he's the face and you're gonna turn Cody heel, I just think it's unconvincing. If you turn him heel against Roman, that could work. Even though Roman should be the heel in this context because it's Cody. If you do it against CM Punk, they already teased of that. I thought that's a great fucking idea. You already see Cody throughout the year have these heel tendencies. He hits AJ with the steps after handcuffing him to the ring ropes. He Alabama slams KO through the ladder while yelling at Sami Zayn that he asked for this. Like, you drop these subtle hints that Cody is going to turn heel eventually. One way or the other. You don't know when it's going to happen, but you know it's coming at some point. And if it happens at WrestleMania, not for nothing, I'm fine with that.
Right.
However, I have two arguments for why I would not be fine with it. Number one is if it happens non-gradually, right? Like, let's say it just, okay, he's the heel and he's going to turn heel now and this match is the turn. I don't want that. It has to be a gradual turn that should happen before the match. And if you're going to do it, it shouldn't be against fucking John Cena. Just saying.
I agree. I don't know where they're going to go with this. I don't know how they're going to go with this. Undertaker said in the Dead Man 6 Feet Under podcast that he doesn't think Cena winning his 17th championship really does anything. He feels like that he understands where Cena's direction, and he feels like Cena's probably in the same boat on this. John Cena putting over Cody Rhodes establishes his Cody Rhodes, because you can't have Cody Rhodes going into WrestleMania and losing to John Cena when Cena's going to be out in a year. This is his last year. And Roman Reigns has already beaten John Cena.
That's the other
clean
part that I don't like, yeah.
So it's like you can't have Cena beat him now because you're trying to have Cody be on the same level, if not bigger, than Roman Reigns. So, yes, I could understand now if you're going to have him win Elimination Chamber, which I firmly expect the last two people for that Elimination Chamber to be John Cena and CM Punk. They're going to, that's the minute that I saw that, I'm like, well, I know the last two are, and that's going to be who's it going to be? You know, I'm going to watch that, and I'm just going to be like, because you know it's coming.
As soon as he won on Monday night, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, that's
right now, the only two people on that poster that are not grayed out are him and John Cena.
And it'll probably be like Damian Priest and, maybe Drew McIntyre in there. Maybe Rollins and Roman. I don't know. It's going to be a fun season. You know, we're really, I think,
we've only just begun.
Yes, it's this whole dance thing. And, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to kind of see where the chips kind of fall in the next few weeks, in the next few months, for that matter. But yeah, I mean, I thought the Rumble was. I was thoroughly surprised with Jey Uso winning.
Right.
but I was thoroughly surprised, I think, in the best possible way. I wasn't mad about it. No, exactly. I thought the women's match was good. It's just the finish was way too predictable because you just knew it was like, all right, this is who it's going to be. And then,
see, I don't disagree because I know we both said it was going to be Charlotte, but when Nia came out at 28 or 27, that's where I was just like, maybe there's a shot.
maybe.
And then she had that one big elimination where she eliminates like 6 people at once. And I'm like, shit. But then the other part of me is just like, well, fuck, Charlotte Flair's still in there.
Yeah.
You know?
That was the hard part because I think everybody knew at that point. It's like, ah, shit.
Yep.
She didn't need it. She didn't need it. And I'll keep kind of repeating myself on that end. But
yeah,
it's,
you know what, man? It's such a tired book. I don't want to cut you off, but it's such a tired book here because they've done it so many times where, hey, this person's coming back from injury. Let's have them win the Royal Rumble.
I know. It just doesn't, and they do it again, and it's just, they give her all these hollow records. Oh, first 2-time winner. She didn't fucking need it.
Yep.
She just didn't. Like, she was coming back from an injury. I know in their mind, it's just like, oh, it'll be bigger. It's not. Nobody cares. Like, it wasn't like the heart grew fonder when she was away. It's, they remember, oh, we didn't like her. We wanted her off our TV. And they're trying to make her likable with like, and relatable. Oh, I just got divorced. Yeah. How many, you're Flair. Like, it's like, well, I the only other person I know that's been married as much as this, as far as the female side, is like Jennifer Lopez.
Odd analogy. I would have just gone with Rick, but okay.
Well, I'm just saying on the women's side, I wasn't trying to be.
Yeah, but she's a freaking like singer, not wrestler. That's why it's weird.
But she's also, she is chasing her dad's numbers though. It's insane. It's just like, really? It's like,
I will be just like my father, a 16-time world champion and a 4-time divorcee. Oh, it's true. It's damn
true. Oh, we can't call Kurt Angle Perk Angle anymore. Even though I hated calling them to begin with, I just never understood that.
Speaking of Kurt Angle, I felt so bad for Ivy Nile getting the "You Sucks" because the stupid American made theme.
Of course, that's such a. Of course they did that. I'm like, of course they did.
They did, yeah.
Oh, good Lord. I love how he's trying to already talk us into coming for WrestleMania, and I'm just like, it's going to be fucking Easter, dude. He's like, oh, yeah.
No, that was me who said, oh, yeah, because I completely forgot. I don't even think he realized it. Or if he did, he didn't realize.
I haven't celebrated Easter in years.
Yeah,
it's like,
I just remembered it as I said it, yeah.
And I'm like, but that, okay, you don't, but we do. Like, I'm usually at brunch. You know, like,
you know what? I'll just, even though I don't have tickets, I'll just go to Vegas or something. Kind of just hang out.
Just go to Vegas, right? Like,
hey, they have the WWE experience there. Why not? You know,
why not? Right? Like, just it really is a perfect town to go to this. I mean,
it really is.
Even though, to be quite honest, that trip I think would cost. Turns out, doing my numbers and things like that, it's cheaper to go to Disney than it would be to go to WrestleMania. So, who would have thunk it?
I mean, if you're paying the $10,000 to watch Jey Uso in the main event, then yeah, I guess.
No shit, right? It's just like, God.
shit.
I mean, it's. I'm excited for Jay. I'm glad that they're going with something different than the old song and dance, because once again, like, of course we were just sitting there like Roman, Punk, Cena, and then all of a sudden it's just like, what about Jey Uso? Oh shit. Because yeah, there were some people that picked Jey Uso. We kind of just looked around. We were just like, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, he won it. Fuck, who knew? Yeah, I'm just glad they went with somebody that other than like that's somebody that kind of needed the boost instead of just again going with the old reliables. And again, you got to give it to, I feel like, to somebody that's a full-time guy instead of just giving it to somebody that's like a legend or somebody that's on its way out the door with Cena. And I get why. I get the sentiment. I get it. I just think you're dumb. Like,
It's not even the fact of being dumb or whatever. It's like, again, Jay's over as fuck.
he is.
I know people, when we talk about being over as fuck, they're like, oh, it's a song or it's the eating or whatever else. It's like, yeah, but it's not. It's
No.
more than that. He truly has become main event Jey Uso. And it took him forever to get to this point. He's talked about it on the microphone before. He did it again this past week where he talked about it again. He's quick on the mic too. He's saying something in his promo on Monday night. He's like, I don't know what to say, and the crowd says yeet, and he's like, man, besides that, like, that's quick. You can't teach that.
Right.
And again, it took him anywhere you can make an argument anywhere from like 2 to 5 years to get to this point. And again, I know there's people that want to shit on him for it and why him and all this stuff. It's like, man, you could do worse than Jey Uso.
To other people too that want to sit here and bitch and complain, I'm going to give you now something that you all can bite onto that maybe you haven't thought about. And that is the fact that as of right now, if Jey Uso wins at WrestleMania, there is a path for Sami Zayn to win the World Heavyweight Championship.
Boo ran.
There you go.
There's a path for a lot of
There's
things, to be honest.
there's your silver lining. There's your pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's there.
You also
For all you
got
Sami Zayn
Roman
people.
again, for
You
too, for a lot of
all
people.
of that. But now
But definitely Sami.
the story of Sami Zayn going heel on Jey Uso and now taking the title from Jey Uso. Now that's there. That path is there for you. That path is there for the naysayers, the same ones that were probably complaining that Sami Zayn did not beat Roman Reigns when he was at the peak of his popularity. Where right now, Jey Uso is at the peak of his popularity and they pulled the trigger.
Was it the Royal Rumble? When did he face him? I don't remember now.
Who?
Sami and Roman.
That was Elimination Chamber 2023.
Right. That's right. Okay.
And
Yeah, it was okay. So the Rumble was right before that. Okay, yeah, I remember that now.
yes.
All right. Yeah, they could have pulled the trigger because you're not going to have Sami win the Rumble or Elimination Chamber if he's fading Roman at Elimination Chamber. So, yeah.
But now the path is there now for Sami to get the World Heavyweight Championship and to make it, because Sami's not beating Roman Reigns. Sami's not beating Cody Rhodes. Jey Uso, and I'm not saying that Jey Uso is not unbeatable or anything like that. I'm just saying that
You open the door.
you open the door. You open the door now for other stories being told, more guys getting a shot that wouldn't get a shot that you wouldn't think had gotten a shot 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Look, they're striking when the iron is hot on a talent. He got over with this thing, and he's being rewarded for it. And the fact of the matter is that him winning the world heavyweight championship in a world where Jinder Mahal was world heavyweight championship, in a world where Kofi Kingston was world heavyweight champion, in a world where Daniel Bryan was world champion.
Oh, that's Daniel McDanielson.
Daniel McDanielson, correct. Jey Uso doesn't sound so bad, does he?
Nope.
Yeet!
And on that note, folks, Mac, do you have anything else to close with?
I was trying to end it for the last 5 minutes, so no.
I was like, and on that note, folks, I think we are going to bid you adieu. I was able at least to kind of get my thought process on all of you. Oh, good to be seen, all you pissy-eyed people. Fact is that you need to you need to remember where you came from. We all built our internet wrestling community cred with our hatred for John Cena. So we need to stick together, folks. Be sure to subscribe to us on Spotify. Look for PWB Talks on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. And also to subscribe on Diamond Podcasting Productions. Please subscribe and throw up a like. We'll be back next week with more Pro Wrestling World Talks news. Of course, AEW's Grand Slam from Australia is next week, so maybe we'll talk about that.
Oh, shit.
All right, folks. Mac, do you have anything less to say? Left.
No, I don't want to talk about AEW next week.
I don't want to talk about AEW. We're going to skip it.
I know I'm going to have to, but
Probably.
yeah.
Who knows? Some big news story could come out before then, and we don't have to talk about it.
God, I can only pray.
All right.
No, I'm good, everybody. I hope we all, I hope everybody enjoyed the Royal Rumble. We'll catch you next week. We'll talk a little bit about AEW. Maybe we'll talk about something else, depending on what happens in the news over the next couple of days and week. And see you next time.
See you, everybody. Bye.